Criminal justice as a non system. Let's talk about the work of critics. Critics say criminal justice is really not a system. They pinpoint that in some respects, criminal justice agencies are independent bodies and they take their authority and budgets from different sources. They are explaining the criminal justice system as a non system. Yes, yes. The criminal justice system is not a system. Basically, they are focusing agencies on the criminal justice system as independent bodies. Crit- Critics are focusing agencies on the criminal justice system as independent bodies. And what are those agencies? Those agencies in the criminal justice system are courts, police, and corrections. They are making numerous points against their paradigm, and those highlighted points are their authority and budgets from different resources. Let's assume the courts recognize the guilt and criminality, but in the meantime, understand very well that the investigation of police is very poor and evidence collection is not up to the mark and showing lacunas. How do courts give justice? It's a big question. How do courts give justice? Courts are recognizing the guilt and criminality, but in the meantime, understand very well that the investigation of the police is very poor and evidence collection is not up to the mark and showing lacunas. How do courts give justice? Let's assume again that the police are working very hard to capture guilt. Police are working very hard to capture guilt. But courts are not understanding those difficulties. Courts are not understanding those difficulties. And they give guilty to bail. Guilty gets bail because it is the discretion of the court. What are the impacts? Nobody cares to listen and think over it. A big why. Let's one more assumption that the corrections are rehabilitating the criminals. The corrections are rehabilitating the criminals and giving a new form and shape to the criminals as a literate citizen and giving a new form and shape to the criminals as a literate citizen. But society put a stigma on people. Society puts stigma on people. Police records made them black sheep. Police records made them black sheep. And courts recognize them as recidivist. And courts recognize them as recidivist. What do we get and what we lose? What do we get and what we lose? Why punishment if nobody forgives? Why? Why punishment? If nobody wants to forgive, then why we are punishing? And the most unfortunate thing is that there are no authorities, bodies, entities, think tanks to think over it and overcome these loopholes. These loopholes are created from time to time, but a centralized body to deal with is the necessity of the day. We need centralized body. If criminal justice system is really a system, then we need a centralized body. Criminal justice agencies are set their own policies. Different agencies, different policies. The agencies often fail to coordinate their activities and thereby ignore the impact that their decisions will have on other agencies. They made a point, critics made a point, that there is no central body that plays their role as cooperated, coordinated, and unilateral decision maker or leader. All these agencies are making their own policies and not understanding the whole impact on the individual that leads to society, nation, world, universe, cosmology. This is critics' view. Criminal justice is really not a system.